So it's midnight. I was up today about 7, but 7 a.m. But I wanted to make sure I got a shower in before I got on camera today, because I was looking a little nasty yesterday and the day before. So I do shower, not every day, but it does get done. Um, I just spend so much time down here by myself that it doesn't often seem purposeful. Um, but that being said, ah, this is heavier than I thought. That being said, part of the reason that I wanted to do this was to try to get myself taking a little bit better care of myself. So it's midnight. I woke up at 7 a.m. Did a few things, and then headed out to the payphone, where I made some calls. This is my phone. Um, it's useful most of the time. I only usually use it to call 1-800 numbers. The odd local number is mostly doctors and government agencies. It's about the only time I ever use a phone, so there's not any point really in having my own. That said, today is an annoyance because I need to make a long distance call. I'm going to try it collect and see how that works out. The purpose of the calls today was mostly to do, or entirely to do, with trying to secure access to these hormones. How long have I been on hormones? I've been on hormones for a little over 5 years, which is a good while. It's enough certainly to indicate that I'm serious. The initial doctor that prescribed me lived in Ottawa. He was good for, I guess, about 4 years. But then he retired. And he didn't put me in touch with anyone, he just disappeared. Um, at that point, I had moved to Windsor already, so I was kind of thrust into a new city, not really knowing any of the networks or anything, trying to find an endocrinologist. And it didn't take me long to learn that this is a different city with a different culture. Um, it's like, as I mentioned in the first vlog, it's a lot more conservative. Like, you notice right away that this is a small town. And it has a reputation for being a union town. Um, but unions themselves, if you really understand them, you know they're actually very socially conservative. It's something that's been studied a lot, and is well understood, that um, there's a very clear linear relationship between education and socially liberalness. Um, that, that was stated in the most pretentious way possible. You know, a connection between intelligence, and a connection between education and socially liberalness. Um, you probably noticed I tend to stumble my words a lot. What's actually happening is that I'm thinking faster than I can talk. I know it doesn't always look like that, but I end up jumping sentences or taking words that are like 10 spots ahead and pulling them back, right? And so I get this kind of jumbled mess. I understand exactly what I'm doing, and that's what it is. It's I'm thinking faster than I'm able to get the words out, and sometimes it seems like I stop, and that's actually because I'm getting kind of like a buffer overflow, to use computer language, where it's just the information has come out so fast that it's just like it can't come out anymore at all, right? But the words will get mixed up, or I'll change the way that I'm articulating something halfway through the statement, and the word that I would have used is still there instead of the word that I ought to be using, right? So it's kind of but that's why I end up stumbling over my words a lot. But anyways, so yeah, it's a conservative town, and trying to find the right kind of doctor here has been a lot more difficult. So I initially went to a psychiatrist. He tossed me out my ear, told me I was, like he literally told me I was trying to screw the system, out of money, and I should go get a job and stop being a leech. It was like the most conservative moment I've ever seen, and yet in the city he has a good reputation of being a fine, enlightened doctor in the trans community. It struck me as like the most redneck yokel I've ever met, right? So I mean, like it comes with this different kind of cultural expectations as well, right? Somebody that me growing up in a big city, what I would interpret as very rural and lowbrow is considered kind of the sophisticated thing here, right? But yeah, he told me to fuck off basically. Get a job, get a haircut, and get a job, you hippie. That's basically what I got out of him. So I went to go see an endocrinologist, and he was like pimping me out, right? He wanted me to walk in there in like heels and stockings and like laugh at his jokes. Like that's what I was getting out of him, and he totally pimped me out. He's like, no, you're not giving me an erection. I'm not putting you on hormones. I'm not joking. I walked in there, and the first thing he asked me was, "What are you, a lesbian?" It was one of the very few moments I've been through with this where very very dehumanizing, and his basic, like, he didn't say it in as much terms, but it was as clear as day. It was it was basically, I'm not prescribing you because I wouldn't fuck you. That's exactly what I got out of this guy, right? And it's the same thing. He has this good reputation here, right? So it seemed to that point that it was hopeless. I wasn't getting anywhere with this, right? So I called a doctor in London, Ontario. If you don't know a map of Ontario, that's understandable. But London, Ontario, it's about a 2-hour drive to the northwest of here. So I wish I could sit on the couch, but I don't have enough light in there. So I'm stuck in here for now. I'll have to get a lamp or something in there at the beginning of the month. Maybe, so that I can sit and do this. But anyway, so I went and talked to a doctor in London, and he prescribed for me. He's actually has a longer history with it. He's been doing this for a long time. It wasn't as much of an issue for him, right? So, and he understood the situation. So he prescribed for me. He said, he set me an appointment in the future, but said, I can understand you're 2 hours away. It's gonna cost you, $100 to come back to see me. I'll just prescribe. It's fine. When I went to refill, he told me, you gotta set an appointment to come see me. So, that was the major thing I had to do, was try to contact him today to talk to him. I had tried to contact him over Facebook, over email. I sent him a fax. I didn't get anything back from him, so I tried to call him. And I did get a hold of a receptionist. They asked me for a voicemail, and they said they'll call me back. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to call back. I think it's just really just as simple as, if I don't show up, then he doesn't get paid. That's how the world works. Even in Canada, where they're supposed socialist medicine, in theory, I shouldn't be having these problems. To be honest with you, the legalities of the situation should be that a doctor should have to do this at some point. And I'm kind of getting near the end of my string here. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to be threatening legal action in the near future. That's one of the tactics that I don't want to have to bring in, but it will if I need to. So yeah, I'm waiting for a call back from there. I'm also there was another endocrinologist. This guy wants me to go to Toronto to go through a CMH, a psychological testing. It's a year-long wait to get in. And here's the kicker. If you actually go to their website, there is a warning on the website asking endocrinologists not to send people to Toronto to do this, to just go ahead and prescribe. So I tried to explain this to the doctor. I got nothing except protocol. Essentially, all I did was throw nonsense at me. I was able to get referred to another psychiatrist here. Supposedly he does spot assessments, which I'm sure will be of extreme high quality. You're going to figure something complicated like this out in 5 minutes. But that's how these people work. They think they're magicians. You walk in, and in 5 minutes they can determine your personality. They can read your future, tell you your fortune. Psychiatry, as we practice it, is more like it's more like a fortune teller. It's like a Roma experience. It's I don't know who they're trying to fool with this cosmic debris, but apparently it's supposedly me, and I'm not fooling for it. I know this is bullshit, but I also know that this is what I have to do to go through this process. So, what is this guy going to get out of 5 minutes? Nothing. But what am I going to get out of this 5 minutes? I'm hopefully going to get the prescription that I need, and then I can take that to the specialist. I also have a appointment with a family doctor coming up in a few weeks, and worst case scenario, hopefully that works out. So that was my run to the payphone this afternoon, and it's extreme levels of annoyance. So about a year ago, I went down to the store and I got some emergency supplies in case I found myself in a financial situation where feeding myself for the month would be difficult. I made sure I got lots and lots of spaghetti to begin with, and a big stack of mushroom soup, mostly. Now, as it's turned out, what's happened is that spaghetti lasts a long time, but not forever. And they're coming up on expiry dates, even past it a little bit. So that's why I'm going to be eating spaghetti for quite a while. I've still got, I think, 3 packages to get through relatively quickly. And then the other ones can wait a little bit longer. But I mean, I'm now on disability for 5 years. So I don't really need to worry about the food much. And it's just, I'm not going to need to replace those. It's just getting rid of the spaghetti kind of thing. So that's why it's going to be spaghetti for a while. I have a number of spaghetti recipes, and I'll be going through those on the blog here. So just laying out the basic ingredients first. I've got my compost there, half a green pepper, a tomato, small one. That is salami, proper Italian salami. Got some cheese, and I thought this thing was brilliant. I don't know if I'm used to using one of those old trapezoid cheese graters. When I found this, I thought it was the most brilliant thing ever. This is the sauce. There's spaghetti there, and it will go in there once it's done heating up a little bit more. Yeah. And of course, you need the proper Calabrese bread. When I walked into the Italian bake shop around the corner there to get the right bread, they asked me if I wanted it cut, and I foolishly said, I can cut it myself. As you can see, it's left me with a bit of a mess after a few days. Next time I will make sure I get it cut. But the only way around it for right now is to just warm it up a little. That's actually what is done. Maybe not using a microwave, but it's the right approach. Still waiting for the pasta to cook, but I've got my ingredients here. And peppers, an entire tomato chopped up. You can see that it's kind of saucy, and that's actually a benefit. The salami was also microwaved. Actually, I put the top of this on there and put it in there for a minute so that it doesn't, well, number one, so it doesn't splatter, and number two, so it can get a little bit of some of that moisture kept in. And my cheese. So, within a few minutes, that'll be all done and I'll put it all together. Got the pasta out of the pot there, and the last step is putting it together. First we got the green peppers. Lay that down like that. Man, I wish I had 3 hands. You know, it would be so much useful. Okay. Actually, I do want to put this in the center for the minute, so that when I get the tomatoes off, and actually they slid right off, that's good. Okay. I can mix it around a little. So that's the first thing. Getting that down. Hey, I told you I only eat once a day, so it's a good meal. Okay. Put that down at the bottom. Once in a while I'll put some cheese down right on top of here, but not today. And actually I should point out that this is my sort of standard spaghetti recipe. I'll be doing many more, but this is kind of the one I do the most often, my default. Right, so then the spaghetti right on top. And I'll put that in the fridge after, obviously. Okay, and next up is the salami. And I'm actually going to have to put that down for this because salami is greasy and yucky. Right. You know what you're thinking about this, think about your heart, but that's the total amount of animal that I'm going to eat today. Salami is pretty high in fat and pretty high in salt and these sorts of things, but if that's the total sum of meat that you're going to eat for the whole day, you actually want it to be really concentrated. You get your get a lot for it. Now, if you eat that 3 times a day, plus 2 cheeseburgers and a BLT, then yeah, that's a bit much. But a small amount of salami on a daily, or a couple times a week, is really actually probably better than eating the same amount of, or eating more of other types of meat. So next thing up is the sauce, and I'm going to have to put this down again, because this is a 2-handed job. See how it works. Again, that's just Caesar salad dressing. Quite delicious though. And next up is the cheese. Make sure you get it covering the whole thing. This is maybe a little bit more cheese than I would normally use, but I was at the end of the pack, so that's how it happens, as we all know. Making food with one hand is not something I recommend. In fact, I'm going to have to put it down again. Okay, there it is. Out of the way. And then this, I'll fry it up sometimes. When I do fry it up, I don't do it quite like this, but Normally, it's just in the microwave for a good 3 minutes. Punching that up. Take this out. And yeah, that's how you like it. Last couple of things. Of course, you need some cayenne pepper sauce. One way or the other, whether you actually use the actual hot peppers, like you would at a restaurant, or I like the sauce better myself. I tend to go with celery salt because it's a little bit more, it's a little bit less salt. And just good old ground pepper. I don't need anything fancy like peppercorns. The ground stuff is good enough for me. Grab myself a fork. I know, I eat once a day. That's it. Go ahead, throw it on my table here. I don't think I got a shot on my mouse and my keyboard the way I got it set up there. Of course, I had my bread there already. Sit back and watch my Brookings Institute talk on the Gaza crisis. And that's life here. I didn't get much done this afternoon either. I got the shower done. I went down to the store and got my prescription refilled, or what I could get refilled of it. I did some editing, and it's midnight. This happens sometimes, where the day just disappears. I'm probably not going to get much testing done tonight. I did get a pot of coffee on, so I might get a little done. I didn't quite get done as much as I wanted to yesterday, because the drivers seem to have gone out on me, and I'm maybe a little bit scared to see what happens when I go in there now. I reset the computer. Hopefully that put the drivers back where they should have been, but we'll have to find out when I go back in there. If my drivers are broken again, I can try to reinstall them, but I'm back at square one. So hopefully they'll be fine when I get the computer back on. That's something I can update you on tomorrow. Right now I'm done for the night, so later.